Now, if you are a proper OG follower of the channel, then you'll know I'm a big fan of this Saucony trail running shoe, the Exodus Ultra, and it has quite a long list of accolades here at the channel. Firstly, I took it straight out of the box, a brand new shoe, laced it up, and I ran 80 miles at Endure 24 last year, and I had no issues with the shoe at all, and it was just extremely comfortable to run in. It also helped me through the very challenging mountainous 95 miles and 9,100 meters of elevation at the TDS at UTMB, and this particular pair of Exodus never came off my feet the whole way round. And then lastly, it also took top spot in our 2022 top 5 running shoes of the year video. So you can see I've definitely enjoyed my time running in these shoes, but I have just got my hands on the new updated Exodus Ultra 2s. Now, this is an early pair. They're due to release early April, but in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the new construction in a bit more detail, and we are taking these out for their first run. Welcome back, folks. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. It's great to have you along again, and thanks for joining us for another video. But if it is your first time here and you enjoy what you see, then why not consider hitting that like button and subscribing to Run4Adventure. Only takes a second to do and it is completely free, but it really is a massive help to the channel. So if, like me, you're a big fan of that original Exodus Ultra, you'll be glad to hear that it has only been a very subtle update this time round, and the changes come when we look at that upper. So we've still got that same brilliant dual compound midsole and that excellent power track outsole as the original shoe, and I'm also happy to say that there's been no price increase this time round, which is always a good thing. So well done, Saucony. So the new Exodus Ultra 2 still retails for £145 here in the UK. Weight wise, the new shoe now weighs in at 302 grams in a UK 9.5, so that's a massive 6 grams weight saving compared to the original version. Now, I know it's not a lot, but you know what they say, marginal gains and every little helps. Obviously, because the shoe runs off of that same midsole setup, we've still got a 6mm offset, and that's another feature that I was a big fan of on the original version, because I think a 6mm heel offset works really well on a shoe that you plan on running long distances in. So I'm just quickly going to break down that midsole and outsole construction in a bit more detail, because like I said, it's exactly the same on the previous version, just in case you haven't come across the Exodus model before. So you get a dual compound midsole setup, and that's got a core of Saucony's performance-based cushioning Power Run PB. That is the same compound that you get on their Endorphin lineup, so the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Pro road shoes, but also the Endorphin Edge. It's a very comfortable, high energy returning cushioning, so it really does give that midsole a bit of pop, but it also feels nice and responsive underfoot. And then on the outside, we have Saucony's slightly more stable, more durable, standard Power Run cushioning, and that forms a cradle around that Power Run PB. I personally think the combination of those two compounds offers you a really good balance between comfort, performance, and durability. And my original pair of Exodus Ultras have run around 400 miles, and that midsole still feels like it's got a lot of life left in it. So if I grab the new shoe and flip them over, you can see we've got the same 4.5mm lugged power track outsole, exactly the same that was on the previous version. We've got some nice reverse facing lugs on the heel that are going to give you good levels of traction when you're running down steep descents. And you can see that the outsole is actually split into 3 sections, and that's to provide a bit more flexibility through that midsole, so the shoe can sort of adapt when you're running on uneven or more technical trails. And then last but not least, we've also got Saucony's flexible rock plate worked into the forefoot, and that's there just to give you a bit more underfoot protection when you're running in rocky environments. Okay, so that's all the stuff that has stayed the same, and now we need to dive into this updated upper. The first thing I need to say is it is a much better looking shoe this time round. I mean, I loved the previous version, but it really was a bit dad shoe. It was a bit ugly and boring. So really good to see that Saucony have invested some time into the new design and the new colorway. It looks like Saucony have chosen to use a lighter, more breathable engineered mesh fabric this time round on the upper. And if I just hold it close to the camera, you might be able to see they've also cut in some big perforations around the midfoot of that upper. So that should really help when it comes to airflow. We've got a structural overlay around that heel cradle, and they've also extended the overlay along the midfoot and wrapping all the way around that toe box. So that should really help when it comes to durability at the flex point of the shoe. Glad to see we've still got a nice substantial toe bumper there, so that's going to offer you a bit more protection when you're out on the trails. The gusseted tongue design looks very similar to the previous version, but there has been some subtle adjustments made to the ankle collar. This was an area of the original shoe where I heard a few people having some irritation problems, so maybe Saucony have listened and they made some subtle changes to try and stop that. I personally never had any issues with the ankle, no rubbing or irritation at all, so hopefully this shoe will remain comfortable for me, but it'll also be a bit more comfortable for the runners that were having problems. We've got a slightly updated lace locking system on the new shoe as well. Very similar to the old one, but it looks like it's had a few tweaks made to it. Saucony have actually added 2 extra lace eyelets up the top here, so that should give you a bit more scope when it comes to sort of personalization of fit. Also, I've just noticed that they've taken away the gaiter attachment from the bottom of the laces there. Not really a big issue for me because I never run with gaiters, but there you have it. That is a quick breakdown of all the new changes to the Exodus Ultra 2s, but I think it is time to get out there and hit the trails. So always a nervous time for me when you find a running shoe that has just worked so well for your foot shape and has been super comfortable across all the miles that you've run with it, and then they go and update it. So I've got all my fingers, all my toes crossed for today's run, but let's get these laced up and let's get running. Okay, so we've reached the starting point of today's run, and don't worry, I'm not going to be testing out the Exodus Ultra 2s running around Tesco's car park. I've actually got a really interesting route plan for today's run, and I don't think it's featured on the channel before. So on today's run, we've got a bit of everything. We've got some tarmac, we've got some inland trail, and we're going to get some coast path at the end. And we're actually starting off in the beautiful little town of Carbis Bay, just out of St Ives. So we're going to be heading out in a second, and then we're going to be heading up to the steeple, which is a beautiful observation point where you can actually see both coasts. And then we've got some inland trail to hit, and then we'll pick up the coast path right at the end. Quite a technical bit of coast path as well, so it should be a really good thorough testing for the new shoe. But let's get our kit on, let's get ready, and let's get out on the run.
I know as the daylight grows how I am supposed to feel, to make the same mistakes, to be part of something real. We walk, stay and talk, suffer love, I have to stay.
Okay, that is the first climb of the run done. Bit of a shock to the system getting out of the car and then running up that, but we've made it to the steeple. And these are the glorious views from up here. So they've actually got a little bit of rain in here. There's a rainbow down there. There's hail, the golden sounds of hail. One coast. If I turn around, just in the distance there, you can make out the other coast as well. So like I say, an amazing observation point. We're going to carry on. We've got a bit of road to soak up next, and then we're going to head to the biggest climb of the run. That's going to lead us to some inland trails, and then we'll pop out on the coast path. But mega view, man. It's a little bit cloudy, but still, I haven't been up here for a long time. Okay, that's enough of looking at the views. We came here to run, so let's get on that coast path.
We walk, stay and talk, suffer love, I have to steal. With blinking eyes through a bad disguise, we move on to be appeal.
If you ever do visit Cornwall and you're looking for a campsite, Polemanter Touring Park is awesome. Incredible facilities, and it's a great location because just down the road is St Ives. But yeah, stunning campsite if you're looking for one. Looks like the weather really can't make its mind up today. I've just been running down here, lovely sunshine, and now it's starting to have this sort of miserly rain, but we're just soaking up the last bit of tarmac before we hit the trails. 3 miles in, and we're just working our way to the biggest hill of the route, so Rosewall Hill. Awesome climb. It's got some real technical bits. I used to rep this hill all the time, but I haven't run it for a while, but it's definitely a quad burner. And to everyone out there who was a massive fan of that original Exodus Ultra, you can take a deep sigh of relief because the shoe is feeling awesome. You forget how good that midsole is, and then you put a new shoe on and it's so comfortable on the hard stuff. Feels like it's giving you lots of spring and returning loads of energy. Feels great straight out of the box. I have no idea why I decided to talk to the camera while running up this hill, but I do think, if anything, when it comes to the upper, the lace is locked down a bit better. I feel really secure around the midfoot. I don't know whether that's a change to the upper design or just a different set of laces, but the shoe seems to be locking down really well. Probably been a good year since I ran this hill. I'm sure it wasn't as steep and as long as this before, but nearly at the top. Oh, we made it. I'm out of breath, but we made it. But boy, is it worth it for that view behind me. Absolutely epic when you're up here. 360-degree views, amazing. Worth all the effort. The good thing about going up is you've always got to come down, and once we get across this sort of inland trail section, we cross the road, go up another hill, and then there is a mega descent. It's quite technical in places, but not too technical, so you can really push and really go for it, and it is wicked fun. I haven't really got much else to say about the shoe, to be honest, because it just feels like Exodus Ultra, you know. Fits my foot shape really well. I think, if anything, a little bit better than the first one, although that was fantastic. Midsole feels great. Coming up the hill, outsole performed really well. Lots of muddy, slippery sections, some wet rock to deal with as well, and some really steep gradient, and soaks it all up, no problem. But let's get across the fields, and let's get on that section of coast path. It looks awesome down there, the sun's out. Let's go and hit that descent.
Thought you'd be the one for me. Won't you tell me how you feel? I shared my dream with you until the morning. Everybody else have done it right.
Okay, so we've made it up to that climb. More stunning views. But now it's time for that crazy descent. So I need to have my wits about me and keep focused. We don't want any accidents. Right, let's give it a go.
Coming out to see me try, as I turn away and cry. You run up to me and take my hand. I wish you were the one who made me whole.
Right, we made it down in one piece. That was awesome. It has been a long time. I can definitely say, when it comes to the Exodus Ultra 2, I think I could probably run another 80 miles in this shoe straight out of the box. I'm not going to be doing that today. I think the route's going to be about 10 or 11 miles, so still a really good test out, but like I said, just feels super comfy. Right, we're heading towards the coast path now, so we'll show you the beautiful sights on the coast path, but we'll see you guys back at the adventure bus. this is always the sting in the tail of this route. This last climb from the coast path up to the road is a proper quad buster. But whenever we run this route as a group, you've always got to run it. So I've run it and I made it. Oh, right, a good solid 10.3 miles in the legs. That last section coming into tonight is awesome, super technical, a real good challenge for the shoe. Town was pretty busy, so I had to weave my way through there, but a great first run. So the adventure bus is just across the road. So let's get back to the studio and we're going to break down the performance of the shoe in a little bit more detail. We'll see you there. Well, I am definitely a happy boy after today's run. Firstly, it was great to get back out on that route that I haven't run for ages, and I used to run it a fair bit when I was living in Carbis Bay because obviously it was literally right on my doorstep. But an epic route, and I really hope you enjoyed seeing all those stunning views out there. Secondly, the body felt good, the body felt strong, and that was after my first proper sort of structured road session yesterday, where I did a 2 mile warm up and then I did 5 3-minute reps at predicted half marathon pace, so around about 6:20 to 6:30 minute miling, and then a 2 mile cool down. So a really good structured 10k session. Like I said, it went well. It actually went a lot better than I could have ever imagined. And then number 3, last but not least, it was great that the Exodus Ultra 2 still runs really well straight out the box. With that midsole and outsole staying exactly the same as before, the levels of comfort I got from that midsole when it comes to the cushioning across all the terrain was really good. So when I picked up those sections of tarmac, that midsole handles it no problem, soaks it all up. Having that Power Run PB core, it means you get a real high level of plushness underfoot, nice and bouncy, feels like it's returning loads of energy. And again, you could run as long as you like on sections of tarmac. And then when I did pick up those sections of more technical trail, I felt nice and dialed in, nice and connected, and nice and stable underfoot. I had no loss of grip or traction out on the route, and we had a fair bit of wet and muddy stuff to deal with, lots of wet rocks as well, and that outsole handled it all really well. Although saying it was wet, it's still probably the driest I've ever seen that section of coast path this time of the year. Since getting back from the run, I actually popped on the previous version, the original Exodus Ultra, just to remind me how that upper felt and how it fitted my foot shape. And I would say there is a slight difference now with this new upper design. I just feel that the new shoe actually sort of locks down around my midfoot a bit better. Not that the old one was bad, that worked really well for my foot shape, but I do feel like I'm getting a bit more midfoot hold out of the new shoe. Like I said on the run, I'm not sure whether that's down to this new sort of lace system on the shoe or whether it's just down to the laces that Saucony have used this time round and they just lock down a bit better. When I was out there on the route, there wasn't one point I felt I needed to stop and retie the laces or adjust the laces to get a better lockdown, because once I was locked into that upper, those laces never budged, which is always a real positive thing for me when it comes to my running shoes. As far as fit, I would say, like the previous version, they are true to size, so the UK 9.5 fitted really well. As far as width and volume in that toe box, again, very similar, so I didn't really notice any change at all. So when it comes down to fit, length, and volume and width in the toe box, not really any change, very similar to the original Exodus Ultra. So you really can see this time round, it was the most subtle of updates made by Saucony, and I'm sure next time round we'll see a bigger remodel where lots of things will change. So if you're like me and you're a big fan of the feel and performance of that original shoe, then don't worry, because I'm sure you're going to still really enjoy running in the new version. Now, I know there was a lot of viewers at home waiting for this video, so really hope you've enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful. And obviously this was just my first run in them, and I'm sure, just like the previous version, that I'm going to be racking up lots and lots of miles in these over the coming months, and along the way we'll bring you our full in-depth review. Don't forget, if you want to see what we're up to at the channel, you can follow us on our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. And if you have found this video helpful, then why not consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It really is a massive help. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it really is appreciated. We'll be back here very soon, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. For sure. So it was great to get back out on that route. Haven't been out on there for ages. I used to run that route a fair bit when I lived in Carbis Bay. Breathable sort of engine. We've got a bit of a TPU. No, not a TPU. It's just an overlay. Oh, you